Hello, folks, and welcome into the Cowboys Report. I am your host, Tom Downey. I know what a lot of you guys want. You want Jason Garrett fired, and I get where you're coming from. Now, I don't know if the Cowboys are going to fire Jason Garrett after the Eagles game or before the season ends, but if they do, let's take a look at some potential Jason Garrett replacements. We'll dive into a lot of different coaches here. Some who make sense, some who don't make sense. I will make one note. Jerry Jones, at least publicly, says he has not thought about changes. Privately, I kind of find that difficult to believe. So before we dive into my top 10 list, let me know in the comments section, and I'll ask this again at the end as well, who do you want as the Cowboys' next head coach? Whatever name you guys want in there, let me know. Put it in the comments section. There are some names, though, that I kind of want to throw some cool water on and say, maybe I get it. But number one, Sean Payton. He would have been at the top of this list, but he signed a big new extension, reportedly worth up to $13 million per year. Dream's dead. It's not going to happen. Tony Romo. I get it. He is great on CBS. He's awesome. I guess I'm taking crazy pills, but I'm not going to hire a head coach who has literally never coached before. Besides, Romo has the best job in the world. He should just stick at CBS. He's going to make way more money and have way less stress. Jimmy Johnson. Every time we do one of these, we've done it for about 3 years now because it's always Jason Garrett on the hot seat. Someone says Jimmy Johnson. Guys, he is 76 years old and he hasn't coached since Y2K. Absolutely not. Mike Tomlin. Well, I don't know if he's going to leave Pittsburgh. Josh McDaniels, I'm intrigued by, but A, not sure he's ever going to leave them. He'll just be Belichick's replacement, and he also didn't go that great in Denver. All right, some other names here that I think make some sense, but Dabo Swinney, Nick Saban. I'd love them both, especially Dabo. He's not going to leave Clemson. We've seen Nick Saban in the NFL. Mike McCarthy is an interesting name. I wouldn't hate it, but here's the thing. What's the difference between Aaron Rodgers, or between Mike McCarthy and Jason Garrett? I gave you the answer. It was Aaron Rodgers because I went out of order there. I don't think there's much of an upgrade there. Bob Stoops will always be mentioned for a Dallas Cowboys head coaching job. He's at the XFL right now. I think he would prefer the less stress, though, of the XFL. And Tom Herman, too. Look, we'll just throw in Texas, Oklahoma. I know how we all operate. I know how it is. The local schools are going to get mentioned. I don't think Herman makes the most sense, though. A big name, though, here at number 10. That's Jim Harbaugh. It's an interesting situation for Harbaugh right now. There's no doubt he has proven himself in the past at Stanford, with the 49ers, with Michigan. But there are currently issues right now with the Wolverines. Michigan is good but not great, which, that's kind of the Cowboys under Jason Garrett. Biggest thing for me, does Harbaugh want to leave Michigan? If Harbaugh leaves the Wolverines right now, and he left, let's say, once the year ended, and let's say Michigan goes 10-3, or whatever they get to. Isn't Harbaugh kind of admitting failure for Michigan at his alma mater? Look, he's done great everywhere he's gone. The 49ers was a huge success, was great at Stanford, record a bit deceptive. He turned that program around. Michigan's back to competing, but they're not back to being Michigan, He checks in there at number 10. I just think there are some issues really on both sides that could prevent it from being a home run, slam dunk type of hire. Number 9, Dan Campbell. I bet he gets interviewed. If the job comes open, I'd be pretty surprised if Dan Campbell wasn't on the interview list for the Dallas Cowboys. Like OC Pete Carmichael. Neither of them call the plays, by the way, but they all make some sense there. 5-7 as the Dolphins interim head coach, has been the assistant head coach for New Orleans, has been on the NFL Coaches Association's more or less list of, hey, you should interview this guy. Hasn't really happened yet. Biggest red flag for me, despite playing for the Cowboys, he's not an X's and O's guy. He's never been an offensive coordinator. I think I might prefer someone who has play calling experience on one side of the ball. All right, number 8, Kris Richard. Remember when everyone wanted Kris Richard as the next Cowboys head coach, or at least a lot of people did? We're not quite there yet anymore, are we? The defense has regressed this year. I know he interviewed last year for the Jets and the Bucs and the Dolphins job, and he might not be listed as a defensive coordinator, but he calls the plays. It's kind of a tag team in terms of game planning between Richard and Rod Marinelli, but Richard calls the plays, so he gets the credit and the blame there. I think that means why he's there number 8. But here's the biggest thing for me with Richard. I don't want an internal hire. I think this has to be external. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I don't necessarily hate Kellen Moore or Kris Richard. I think there is definitely good coaching on this staff. It's not coming through right now, but we've seen it before. We know it exists. Here's the thing. The Cowboys have fundamental root problems right now. You can't just put on a new coat of paint and say, okay, we're fixed now. And the engine needs some overhauling. So I'd say it has to be an external hire. No disrespect to Richard or Kellen Moore, but the new head coach has to be from outside the organization. Otherwise, why would things change? I wouldn't have any faith that they would. All right, number 7, a name I've mentioned for quite a while now, actually. That's John DeFilippo, the Jags OC. For those of you who have watched the Cowboys report for a long time, you know I wanted him as the Cowboys OC when he was the Eagles quarterback's coach, and things did not go great in Minnesota. He went from, he is going to be the next head coach to, oh boy, he got fired. But he has rehabbed his stock in Jacksonville. Gardner Minshew Mania has impressed. Let's give DeFilippo some of the credit there. He's a 3-time NFL play caller, but kind of quick succession there. Browns, Vikings, Jags, all in the time frame since 2015. He would not be my first choice, but I wouldn't mind an interview there for DeFilippo and the Dallas Cowboys. All right, folks, I am wearing a Kashiyama suit. You can get one of your own at Kashiyama1927.com. Custom fitted suits, they fit perfectly, and they start at $300, aka the same prices as other suits at, the major chains out there. But these are custom fitted. You're not going to find a better suit. Every man should own a good suit. So if you don't have one, go get one from Kashiyama. Or if you need an upgrade, Kashiyama1927.com. That's the site. Go check them out. Number 6, Eric Bieniemy again. I've got no problem here with an interview. And historically speaking, Chiefs really Andy Reid, offensive coordinator, the track record's pretty solid. But I don't think it's fair to lump Bieniemy in with the offensive genius category because he's not the play caller. Now, Matt Nagy did a good job early on. Bears have kind of regressed a little bit this year, but I'm not panicking quite yet on them. We know how good Doug Peterson's been. So the track record is solid, but Eric Bieniemy did interview for 4 head coaching jobs last year. The Cincinnati Bengals, the Bucks, the Jets, and the Dolphins. He got none of those jobs. It was Zach Taylor, Bruce Arians. No surprise there on Bruce Arians. That was a good hire. Adam Gase, and then Brian Flores. He didn't get any of those jobs. At some point, he'll get one, but I feel like Bieniemy is kind of settling a little bit for the Dallas Cowboys. It would not be a bad hire, but I got bigger fish in mind for Dallas. All right, number 5, that is Matt Eberflus. You know this name, right, guys? Coach for the Cowboys, mostly as the linebackers coach from 2011 to 2017, was the passing game coordinator for 1 year. The Colts defense has shown growth under him. Couple of different red flags that I have, though, with Matt Eberflus. A, the Colts defense still has some room to grow, which is understandable. So I guess it's 3 things here in total. B, do we want a defensive mind? I don't know if that's the best thing here for the Dallas Cowboys. And then, of course, C, is he really an outside hire? He coached for so long under Jason Garrett. I don't know if that's enough of a true reset for the Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of that offense-defensive battle, what would you prefer for the hire for the Dallas Cowboys? Type O in the comments for an offensive hire or D for defensive. Now, of course, the correct answer here is the right hire, but we know what I'm actually asking here. There is a reason, folks, that most NFL teams want offensive minds. The NFL more and more is an offense, especially passing, driven league. If I can get a good offensive mind, I'm going to go with that one. On to number 4, let's get to some unorthodox names, and as I realized, this was actually a common theme with all of them. Number 4 is Urban Meyer, and I know there was the drama at Ohio State last year and all of that, but here's the thing. What do we know about Urban Meyer? At least recently. He takes a year off and then somehow gets a promotion. Did it from Florida to Ohio State to potentially the NFL and the Dallas Cowboys, and we know that he would work well with Dak Prescott and Zeke Elliott. A, he had Zeke Elliott. B, Dak Prescott at Mississippi State ran the Urban Meyer offense under Dan Mullen. My biggest question mark, though, about Urban Meyer is, does he want to go to the NFL? Look, we clearly know that the stress has been an issue for Urban Meyer, and the USC job apparently is waiting for him as well. But if you can get Urban Meyer, that's a really good hire. I mean, look at everywhere he's been. He's been great. I mean, his worst, and I mean worst in quotes, was Florida, and he was still 65-15 and making Florida one of the best teams in college football. I know it's a bit of an unusual hire here, and one I probably wouldn't have been on board with even this time last year. But now that he's actually available for sure, unlike a lot of these coaches, I think Meyer makes a lot of sense there, if, of course, he actually does want to come to the NFL. Here's a question for you, by the way, as we dive into more of these examples, is would you hire a college head coach? Now, I understand why there could be some reasons for concern, namely, the recent track record hasn't been that good. Of course, I'd also argue a lot of the great college coaches don't leave because why would they? They get paid just as much, and they have much better job security. Like think about it this way. You can never win a national championship, but as long as you win 10 or 11 games, or you lose 2 or 3 games each year, which is fine, at most programs, you're there for life. In the NFL, if you never win a national championship and you don't, say, make it to the CFP, or I guess for the NFL, for that side of it, you're fired. So the expectations are a little bit more relaxed at the college level. Of course, the Cowboys, by the way, do have a pretty good track record of college head coaches jumping to the NFL. Number 3, let's go to Ryan Day, who I had some concerns about him in year 1 at Ohio State. They're gone so far. He has not yet finished his first year, but remember, the NFL has long liked Ryan Day. Heck, Mike Vrabel tried to lure him to Tennessee to be the OC while Ryan Day was at Ohio State, and Ryan Day was like, nah, I'm going to wait. Turned out great for him because now he's the head coach at Ohio State. So it is a very much risky hire because we haven't seen that much of Day. But frankly, I want risk this time around. I don't want to do the same old safe, cautious play where we're going to hire a guy who we know very well, we have familiarity with, we're going to stick with the same complacency. Worst case scenario, the Cowboys aren't good and they miss the playoffs. Okay. The best case right now under Jason Garrett is we're going to go 10-6 and go 1 and done, or maybe 2 wins overall in the postseason, if you include the wild card. Let's be aggressive. That's my mindset. That's also my mindset, by the way, when it comes to sports betting. I use BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. I like to do parlays and pick the underdogs, and it's killed me this year, especially when I bet on the Cowboys to win the past 3 games. But you can get on the action too, and I still got plenty of money left over from BetDSI with that promo code Cowboys120. That gets you a 120% deposit bonus. Chatsports.com/bet. That's the URL. Use that promo code Cowboys120 from that sweet sportsbook betting bonus from BetDSI. Number 2, maybe a name we weren't expecting. That is Chris Petersen. He's only 55 years old, and there is a strong, proven track record of success at both Boise State and at Washington. I kind of think that Petersen nationally is overlooked just because he's on the West Coast, but he's been to 2 programs, had immense success with Boise State, and then helped revamp Washington from they're kind of bad all of a sudden, to they're back competing in the college football playoff. Not so much more recently, also the nature of the Pac-12 there. I like Chris Petersen a lot, plus the Boise State connection. I think the Cowboys like Chris Petersen. I think he's a dark horse name to watch out for. But as many of you already guessed in the comments, Lincoln Riley is number 1. Now, some will tell you, it's local bias. But you guys know me. I don't fall for local bias. That's not what this is about. Lincoln Riley absolutely must be the number 1 target for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm not saying it's a surefire hire, mostly because it's a tough sell. Lincoln Riley is beloved at Oklahoma, and understandably so. It is a fantastic job. He's making bank right now. It is not going to be easy to go to Lincoln Riley and say, hey, come be our head coach. Why? Well, we're an NFL job. The Oklahoma job, frankly, those premier college football jobs, they're just as good, if not better, than the NFL ones. But everyone in the NFL wants Lincoln Riley. The Redskins, they aren't going to get him. But the Cowboys, that is one of the few jobs I think Lincoln Riley would leave the Sooners for. For starters, he wants to go to a great position. Well, the Cowboys have what you want. They have ownership that's willing to be patient with you, as shown by keeping Jason Garrett for so long. They have a strong track record in their front office. They have good money men, namely Stephen Jones. We know there's talent on this roster. And oh, by the way, Stephen Jones, who really is the de facto GM along with Will McClay right now, already gets along with Riley from when John Stephen was recruited by Lincoln Riley to Oklahoma to be a walk-on, but still recruited. As for why I would want him, look, we keep pulling plays from the Lincoln Riley playbook. That guard tackle counter that he scored his touchdown run on, straight from Lincoln Riley. And the quarterback play under Riley at Oklahoma, 3 years, it's incredible. It is insane how well Lincoln Riley has developed these quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield transfers in, wins the Heisman. Kyler Murray, oh, he's going to play baseball. Just kidding. #1 pick and the Heisman Trophy. Jalen Hurts was not a good thrower at Alabama, has taken a big step forward. Dak Prescott's better than Jalen Hurts. I would love to see Dak and Zeke and Amari and Gallup and all these skill guys that the Cowboys have get a nice move tight end in there too. I'd love to see them under the Lincoln Riley offense. Now, make no mistake, the defensive coordinator hire would be critical. You can find a good, if not great, DC in the NFL, much like Sean McVay did with Wade Phillips. I think bringing in Lincoln Riley would be a strong and really should be the best hire possible by the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not going to hire any head coach, but there are several ones that I would like to target. Lincoln Riley, of course, #1. I asked it to you earlier, and I'll ask you again right now. Who do you guys want as the next Dallas Cowboys head coach? You can even put in Jason Garrett. I know there are still some Garrett truthers out there, and I completely respect your opinion. You're certainly in the minority, though, right now. But, folks, let me know in the comment section who you want as the next Cowboys head coach, if, of course, they end up firing Jason Garrett. Hey, Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.